Hello class, and welcome to our video lecture over Chapter 1, Lesson 2. If you don't already have the file open, you need the Chapter 1 file of 1-1 open. You'll get there by going to your handout drive under File Open, going to Handout Drive, going to Business Handouts, going to Shonifer, and then Computer Graphics, Illustrator, Chapter 1, and 1-1. But we already have it open, so we are not going to open a second time. And what we're going to talk about is different views, using guides, using rulers, and just looking at our overall preferences to be able to view and modify an image. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at our zoom tool, which is pretty basic. Our zoom tool is over here. We can either click on it with our mouse or we can hit Z on our keyboard. And that is going to enable us to use our zoom tool. So when we use that, we just click on our image to zoom in, or we can come down here to our percentage bar and we can manually type in a percentage. Or we can also use this drop down arrow that would allow us to select a percentage as well. So there's a couple different ways that we can zoom in and out on our image. Another thing that we can use to move our document around in our image window is our hand tool. And we use either the H on our keyboard or selecting here. What this does is it allows us to just grab our image and move it within our workspace. You can also click on the selection tool and point it to the center of the document window. So let's go to our selection tool and go to the center of our document window. And we can then press and hold Control and the space bar. And we can zoom in using our zoom tool by clicking. So a couple different ways that we can adjust our image. Next, we're going to look at how we can hide and show rulers and set units and increment preferences. So very similar to what we had in our Photoshop, to add in our rulers, we are going to use our view function. Before we add in our rulers though, something we want to do is we want to fit our artboard within our window. So we can go to view and fit our artboard within our window. So that's going to change our perspective and our zoom so that it fits nicely within the window. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go to view, and we can either go to our rulers, and there's going to be either show rulers or hide rulers depending on whether your rulers are already on or off. So you can do this by clicking on show rulers, but as you'll notice we also have the option to hit Control R. So I'm going to click here for now, and then if I hit Control R on my keyboard, it's going to disappear. Control R again, and I can bring it back. Now, just like in Photoshop, we can right click to change our different measurement units, or we can go to our Edit, our Preferences, and then we can either get to it by going to Units here, or going to General and then clicking on Units. Let's go to General. Click on Units, and it's going to bring our units of measure up here. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that our general units is set to inches, our stroke is set to points, and our type is set to points. Something you guys might notice is there's an extra option in here called picas. Picas are a different measurement that are used for layout design that was created before, say, pixels were created for our computer screens. It is equivalent to a 1/6 inch, and it's important that you understand what unit of measurement you're setting your rulers to, because it will affect your aspect ratios, your measurement utilities, and your transform panel as well. So make sure that you know which unit you're using when you're looking at your rulers or any kind of strokes or types. So we're going to go ahead and click OK and make sure that our settings are set to inches. Next, we are going to hide and show the ruler guides, the selection marks, and a document grid, which there's a couple new things in there from Photoshop. So first we want to go to our select option and select all. So we can also do that by hitting Control A. Then we're going to go to View in our application bar. And we are going to note that the edges command and what its short key is. So we need to find our edges or outline, just edges. And our short key is going to be Control H. So let's go ahead and just click using our mouse on Hide Edges. So that is going to change the view of what we're looking at. So then we're going to go to our Select and our Deselect option so that those outlines or edges are no longer selected. So now we're going to go to View, and we're going to show our guides for our view. So we come down to Guides, we're going to select Show Guides. And now you'll see, just like in Photoshop, we have our guidelines. We can also toggle this off by using our short key, which if we hover over, it's going to tell us that it's Control and our semicolon. So if we do Control and semicolon, you'll notice that our guides are now gone. The last thing we're going to look at is a grid, which is new for our Adobe Illustrator. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to View again, and then there's an option called Show Grid, or Control and a quotation mark. So we're going to hit Control Grid, and you'll notice that now we have a lot more detailed guides so that we can be more precise with the placement of our objects. We can do the same thing by turning it off and going to View, and then going to Hide Grid. So that is how we can hide or show our ruler guides, our selection marks, and our document grid. Next, we're going to talk about toggling screen modes and working with multiple documents. So if we want to go to our View menu, we can do that by hitting Control V, or we can do it by coming to View and looking at our menu. Sorry, Control Y, not Control V. But first we're going to go to Edit and go back to that preference function that we had talked about. So coming to our preferences, let's go to General, and then we're going to go to User Interface. So what we want to do here is we're going to verify that the Open Documents as tabbed box is checked, and most of yours should be checked. So Open Documents as tabbed is checked, and then we are going to hit OK. And what I want you guys to do is come into File real quick, go to Save As, and we're going to save this document as your last name, comma your first name, and obviously you're going to put your actual last name and not last name, first name. And then a space, a dash, a space, and we're going to call this Motocross. And then I need you to save it on your H drive and not to this handout drive. I'm not going to save mine so that I don't override any documents, but please save yours on your H drive. So then what we're going to do is we're going to open our second document so that we can figure out how to arrange those windows. So we're going to come to File and Open. We're going to go to the handout drive. If you're already there, great. If not, go to Business Handouts, Shonifer, Computer Graphics, Illustrator, and Chapter 1. And we're going to open AI 1-2. And you should see a second document pop up with a separate tab here at the top. So now we have both of our images just on separate tabs. So just like in Photoshop, we can click and drag these to be in separate windows. We can also reestablish them in that same window by holding it up until that blue box appears. And I can move back up my second document, hold it up until that blue box appears, and now they are both back where they're supposed to be. The other thing I can also do is go to Window and come up to my Arrange function and arrange my documents in either a tile or a cascade. So if I select tile, they're going to be side by side. And that is how we manage multiple documents in our window. And that is it for lesson 2.